This video is made for adult collectors because Windows notification just went off in my ears, scared the absolute hell out of me. So Reactivate didn't just give us 2 preview toys. Oh no, it gave us 4. And this pack is strange. Where the last pack for me felt worth the value, this one is a lot harder to swallow. Not physically, please don't eat your toys. Not that the toys are bad, I like both of them, but feeling like this pack is filled out is, well, we'll get there. So this pack includes Optimus and Soundwave. Soundwave is a thing. He's a thing. I like it, but it doesn't feel as nicely built as the rest. The backpack on mine doesn't like to tab in, and his proportions. See, I'm okay with him being small. It's not the first time Soundwave has been small, but his arms and legs feel a tad too lanky in proportion to the rest of his body. And I think that issue stems from how big the backpack is, and it makes him feel a bit bloated in the middle. Because if I were to remove it here, it looks a lot more in proportion with itself. No, the chest is not open, it's a deluxe after all, but I really like the colors. The dark blue, the bits of red, and the silver look very nice, and that gold on the non-clear plastic chest window thing works very well to break up that sea of blue and black in the torso. He has an articulated shoulder cannon and a hand one as well. His head looks awesome, and I really like how expressive he looks just in this stature. But yeah, my biggest issue with the robot is how bloated it feels in the middle. Optimus, though, this has to be my favorite Voyager Optimus, and we've gotten a lot of good ones recently.
Siege, Earthrise, Legacy, we're gonna run out of space already, Volvo, Rise of the Beast Mainline, SS-102, and Reactivate. God, it's a good set of years to be a Prime fan.
This thing feels built up and dense, and it fills in like all his gaps, so if gaps bug you, then this is definitely for you. I love the deco. The gray they used is not my favorite gray in the world, but here it just kind of works. It's that light color that matches the lighter silver they use on the paint, which looks nice. My only issue is this torso thing doesn't stay down all the way and leaves such a tiny gap, and that seems to be a problem on this and my buddy's copy of the toy as well. Head is fantastic. It really looks like Classics Prime to me. It's big and bulky and wasn't on the ball joint correctly, but I fixed it. The eyes are very tiny though. Like, they do get lost in there. I wish the paint in them was a bit more vibrant. He has an Earthrise matrix for reasons. I'm sure in the game next year we'll see the actual matrix, and I don't think it's going to look anything like this, but we shall see. The back cleans up quite nicely and pegs in super well into like everything to keep it in place and doesn't flop around. His gun though, it doesn't peg into his hand properly. It's very loose, and my buddy recently got one of these as well, as I said, and just like mine, his gun is also loose as well.
Quick little interjection here about the gun. I did end up fixing it before this video because I couldn't handle how horrible it was. But the peg's also really thin, so it only goes into his hand about that much. So it's like, I don't understand why it's so small. I feel like the peg needed to be a bit larger in order for this to work properly. It's a bit weird. But for those asking, I just took a layer of super glue, put it on, let it dry, and now it's fine. So yeah, he can hold his gun now.
Axe is cool though, but I wish it engulfed the entire hand. Prime is also big as hell. Like, he's taller than most Voyagers I've gotten recently. He's even bigger than Starscream from the Reactivate 2-pack, who was bigger than most Voyagers already. And these 4 together just look so good. Like, so good. And just like being Starscream, Prime and Soundwave can pose like motherfuckers.
So, needless to say, the articulation on these guys is quite good, just like with Bumblebee and Starscream. Well, Bumblebee didn't have a waist joint, but like these two, they don't have any problems like missing articulation. However, he has some fit issues, so let's get Soundwave out of the way, get the gun out of here. So the fit issue basically stems from the backpack. For some reason, And it's, from what I can tell, only on my copy. But the backpack doesn't actually like tab in properly on mine. Like the tabs are there, they just don't hold, and this comes out all the time. I move the head, oh, and then it unclips. That's kind of annoying. But the head is, stay down, the head is on a ball joint, so you can pretty much go wherever you want with it. It only rotates about that far though, just because of the cavity, but like, do you really need any more than that? The cannon can rotate and go up and down. Shoulders are on ball joints, they can go in and out, forward and back. I said that in the wrong order, but whatever. Bicep rotation, single jointed elbow, wrist rotation, there we go. And the backpacks come undone again. And the fronts come, oh my god. It's a bit pain. Autofocus is having trouble with the giant void in his chest because it's all just a big dark color and my lights are not helping. You do have a waist joint. The hips are like SS102s where the hip joint is set forward. So the hip can go forward that far, but it can't go back. That's as far back as it goes. But you get a really nice high kick. You get some outward movement. You get thigh rotation, single jointed knee that bends all the way, and then you have ankle tilt about that far. So he's very, very posable, extremely posable. It's just for some reason mine never wants to stay together. Optimus Prime. Take this gun out of his arm. He only has one posing problem that I have with it. Now, someone did comment on my Instagram post when I posted about this that his chest will just completely come undone like that. I achieved that by pushing on this while moving the arm. So, boom. But if I don't do that, then it still comes undone slightly. What the hell? That's the first time that's happened. So how it works here is there's a tab right there that pegs into that little slot there. You can see it. And it used to hold fine. And then it just kind of stopped. But yeah, it can, there you go. Now it's working. But anyways, head, ball joint. A lot of nice range. Very stiff ball joint. Mine was also detached out of the box, which was kind of funny. Shoulders can do a full 360. They can go out. You have backwards butterfly joints due to the transformation. You have bicep rotation, 90-degree bend at the elbow, and it bends the other way. You get wrist rotation. You have waist rotation, and this is where the limitation comes into play. These, I just kicked Leader Class Megatron because he's on the floor. These two grill parts right here bump into the hips. Let's just focus on that. They bump into the hips. So the waist joint really only goes that far before they start to flex and pop it around. Now these are made out of a softer material and they are made to flex. That's their whole job. So you can get it around there. It is just a bit weird. Also with the hips, they can go forward and they can go back, in and out. But due to the way that they're sculpted and due to how flat this section is at the bottom of his torso, if you rotate the waist ever so slightly, that's as far as the hip will go. It's one of those, you got to kind of force it past that and you might chip the red paint. So what I recommend doing is get the legs in the position you want them in first and then rotate the waist. That way you don't scuff the paint at the bottom of this. I mean, it's not like it'll be noticeable because it's at the bottom, but it will be there and it will bug you. You do have thigh rotation and they covered up the thigh swivel. Look at that. They covered it up. You get 90 degree or a little bit over 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And if you want a little bit more, you can just sort of open this up and that gets you a tiny, tiny bit more knee bend, but not, it doesn't really do much. And then he has ankle tilt. No forward and back though, unfortunately, which is I would have liked. But yeah, that's the articulation. Prime is probably the most articulated out of all of them. Soundwave is the most articulated deluxe of the two of them, but yeah.
So that's these two robots. They look great, but Soundwave really suffers from being this size class. I think a little more torso engineering to clean up the bloatware on it would have helped make the proportions look a lot nicer and make him look less skinny.
Now let's make them vehicles. Starting with idiot number one. Soundwave transforms a lot like the Cyberverse Deluxe, but unlike the Cyberverse Deluxe, it's fun. That I did not like that Deluxe at all. But basically it's the same thing. Arms fold in the top of the vehicle. The vehicle is just kind of stored on the back. The legs go inside. It's a shell former. Soundwave is a shell former. It is what it is. But you fold the head in, bring all this out, just sort of accordion this section up like so. Get the wheels out of there. And we're like halfway done already. Then you want to take the shoulders, bring them in. Now the arms will peg into the wall on the side. So you just peg them in there and then peg them in there. And then the wheels and the legs here, you just sort of rotate at the thigh swivel, peg them together, make sure the ankle tilts are not activated. Open these sections up, flip out the wheels, which do a really nice job of filling in the hollowed out space underneath, which I like. Then you literally just bring this whole thing up and peg it into place at the front, like that. And then just get everything situated on the side here. There are slots that will slide into things, and then these panels just sort of straighten out. And yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it. That's Soundwave. Just get everything pegged together properly. Flip that up. There you go. That's it. That was literally easy. That was so easy to do. I quite enjoy flipping this guy back and forth. If this would tab in, there we go. I quite enjoy flipping it back and forth. And there we have Soundwave. He's a lot different. This thing shares engineering with this. And this. And this. It borrows concepts from these 3 toys. However, unlike SS102, which borrows aspects from 2 toys and a little bit of new stuff, and it doesn't really work super well, all of this, it kind of works pretty well. There are some fiddly bits. Get out of here, LeBron James. But it's really nice. So to start with, we're going to just straighten them out like that. I'm actually going to unfold these kibble bits on the side to make him look more like Classics Prime. There you go. Now we got the complete Classics Prime look. Then what we're going to want to do is come to the back here. Let's just put him in the Jesus pose and unpeg this. Bring these out. Now, it helps. I find it helps if I bring these past where they're supposed to go. There's like a little stopping tab, but it just kind of goes over that. Then you bring this section out, rotate that out, and that's the backpack pretty much prepared. Now, we're going to open up the torso and bring all of this back like that. We're going to take the grill section. He's going to fall over. We're going to take this section here and rotate it inwards. This will form the bumper, just like so. And then we get to the Earthrise part. Fold that out, fold this out like that. Very Earthrise-esque. Now that we're here, I'm going to flip the head in like so. It doesn't go fully flush all the way down, but it doesn't need to. Then what I'm going to do quickly is get the legs done first. Now the legs don't have the feet sticking out the back because they do like the Siege Springer thing where they fold away like this. Not sure why they've never done this before on an Optimus Prime. It feels so simple of a solution to get rid of the feet, but it is neat. I like it. Close that up. I feel like a lot of third parties are going to rip that off at some point and put it on their own primes. Anyways, bring this section up, pull that grill back in, bring this down. No, not down. You don't bring that down yet. Rotate them this way, fold them in like that. And then you bring them down all G1 Optimus Prime like. Just gonna bring this section back down just to get it out of the way. Peg it in, why not? And then just bring this back and around. Now, the tricky part with the torso here for me is making sure that the back panel gets in front of the smokestacks while you are doing this. It becomes a little bit frustrating. That coupled with how stiff the joints are makes getting all that together kind of a pain at first. Then you bring this section down and it will just peg into the inside of the arm kibble. And it should slot into place at the top. For some reason it's not. There we go. And then you just bring this section down and over the hands. Clip it all in. Make sure everything is nice and tight. And that's Prime.
Just like Starscream and B, they have some frustrating elements, but they're small in the grand scheme of the whole conversion. Soundwave's van mode thing is, in my opinion, the best ground-based Soundwave alt mode we've gotten. I love the way this little military truck looks. The little radar dish, the tape deck hood, it's so cool, coupled with the size of it and like the feel, how solid it is. It feels good in the hand. Also, the wheels are painted, which is nice. Prime is just a brick that is almost the same size as a friggin' alternator. Like, this is a big-ass alt mode, and it's so solid, nothing wants to come undone. Everything stays tucked away and filled out. I love the dirt on the front section here. I think it's pretty good for an official mass-produced battle damage. Like, it's better than Siege. There is no trailer hitch, so it's unlikely this will see a separate release with a trailer. That is, if he has one in the game. And I ain't complaining. That's just me telling you that we're probably not going to get a trailer for this guy at all, because it just doesn't work. I do like how it cleans up so much. There's literally no robot kibble hanging out. like at all. The only thing that's there is if you flip them over, there's a fake grill. But these 2-packs have been a lot of fun still, though that Soundwave just not feeling as nice as Bumblebee to me makes me kind of not feel like this is completely worth the full price. Bumblebee and Starscream feels like a more complete set that fills out the price point. Prime and Soundwave is just, you get an amazing Prime toy, like an amazing Prime toy, but an okay Soundwave. One is really good and one is not bad, versus the Starscream pack where you get 2 that sort of even each other out and are pretty good, which is why I feel it's more worth the retail. But for Optimus and an Soundwave, I'm still kind of happy with buying this. I'm so glad this exists. Soundwave is not terrible. Like, I would put him up there with, say, Code Red from Collaborative or the Junkions from Legacy. Like, that's probably where I'd put him if I were to rank him in like a list. He's about as good as those. Prime, on the other hand, is like buying a Masterpiece toy. But that's my look at the Reactivate Optimus and Soundwave 2-pack. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.